hate losing, so yeah, of course there's a level of frustration for sure. Can't even sit here and say that we should be this or we should be that. Our record is who we are.
Championship team, it's not us right now.
I said victory is all we ever wanted. A little history is all we ever needed.
I just hate where we're on right now.
That did not look good. Certainly going to have implications for the Lakers.
It's the same question every game. Every time we lose, it's like, hey, how long do you think it's going to take? We don't know.
Things look bleak for the Lakers. They're 4 games under 500. They didn't make a move at the trade deadline, and now they're without Anthony Davis. And during the All-Star break, LeBron James was very active, however, on the court and in his comments. So here's Zach Lowe to recap.
If it isn't one of our favorite NBA traditions, LeBron James stirring the pot with some passive-aggressive jabs. LeBron put the entire Lakers brain trust on notice, which is kind of funny because LeBron and his inner circle are very much members of that brain trust and played a huge role in the Lakers' decision to trade almost everything they had left for Russell Westbrook. LeBron used All-Star to take obvious digs at the Lakers and Rob Pelinka's passivity at the trade deadline.
The MVP over there is Sam Preston. This guy's eye for talent. This guy's pretty damn good.
LeBron is, of course, eligible for an extension with the Lakers this summer, and everything he said and did this week in Cleveland should be taken as a clear message to the Lakers brass. Show me a reason to extend. I can't pretend to know what LeBron wants to do. All I can do is talk to people and read the tea leaves as best I can. And my best guess is that LeBron would prefer not to leave the Lakers.
It's always special to play in front of the Laker faithful. It's a beautiful thing.
LeBron's obvious frustration with Pelinka, with the Lakers doing nothing at the trade deadline, that is probably, for now, more a push for action, and the pressure is on this summer. They can still trade that 2027 pick, and by then, they'll also be able to trade a 2029 first-round pick. Westbrook's deal? Bam, suddenly an expiring contract. But just remember this, always remember this. Instead of trading everything for Westbrook, the Lakers had a deal on the table to trade Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell to the Kings for Buddy Hield. In that scenario, they would have kept Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, kept their own 2021 first-round pick, and in addition, they could have re-signed one of THT and Alex Caruso. Remember Alex Caruso? Pretty good player. The Lakers have to make a ton of decisions, and they have to make those decisions work for next season's Lakers in a way that makes LeBron happy. He cares about this season's Lakers and next season's Lakers, and the pressure is on.
Okay, so that was pretty comprehensive there on the low post, Zach. Anything you want to add?
Sure. I mean, look, Rob Pelinka's being pilloried for not making a move at the deadline, but that could turn out, the whole point of this is that could turn out to have been the best course of action because maybe this season for the Lakers is just not salvageable. That's the bet they were really making. There's no trade on the table. We're not getting Jeremy Grant or Harrison Barnes for what we can offer. There's no trade on the table that saves our season. Let's keep our war chest intact to the degree that it exists anymore and go back this summer with more first-round picks, more stuff to trade, more flexibility, and play for next season when we'll still have LeBron, we'll still have AD. And by the way, no one's excited to face us, even if we sneak into the playoffs this year, if we have those two guys on the court. So everyone tends to sort of focus in on these narrow points in time. They didn't make a move at this trade deadline. Oh my God, it's a crisis. Zoom out. Let's see what they do in July and judge it then.
Okay, so give them a little bit of time. If you want more on that rant that you went on, though, the low post, I mean, you had some interesting points in there. So long term, though, you said you believe LeBron wants to remain in LA, but how uncomfortable could things get this summer?
If they do nothing, if this is the team they run back next year, I think it's going to get uncomfortable. But what will really be uncomfortable is if they offer LeBron a contract extension and he doesn't take it. That's DEFCON 1 uncomfortable. So we'll see what happens when he becomes extension eligible. They'll surely put some kind of deal on the table for him, and we'll see if he decides to take it or not. Looming over all of this, of course, is the comments he made to The Athletic's Jason Lloyd about how he wants to play his last season with Bronny, his son. When is Bronny going to be in the NBA? Who's going to draft him? How is that all going to work? So there's a lot of variables swirling around here, but I think personally his preference is to remain a Laker, and we'll just see what happens this summer.
Absolutely. Zach Lowe, thank you so much. And the Lakers, they're back in action tonight. So let's wrap up a very busy All-Star break for LeBron James, his game-winning shot in Cleveland. That was the exclamation point. But Chiney, what stood out to you the most, let's say, from LeBron's All-Star weekend?
That LeBron James still loves the moment. He loves the big shot. And mind you, that All-Star
Richard's
game...
looking at you like 1 + 1 = 2.
But yeah, it's true. You know, Steph Curry was going for 50, but LeBron, I mean, look at the degree of difficulty. 2 defenders on him, one being Joel Embiid running out there because Joel wants to win MVP too, right? And he just knocks it down. The last time we saw the Lakers, what happened? 33-8-6 by LeBron James, and they had a very big win against the Jazz. So to me, this season may not be salvageable from a championship perspective, but LeBron James is still playing an excellent brand of basketball, and he's not running away from any challenge.
What do you think, Richard?
Well, I think this when we talk about putting
Don't tip that over now.
Well, there's nothing
Don't
left.
spill too much tea.
When they're talking about him being in that space, okay, are you guys happy?
No.
No, I'm kidding. When they're talking about LeBron being in that space, this is what's key for Bron, is understanding that for him, he might be trying to put people on notice, but he does not want to leave the Lakers. I truly believe that. He just lets everybody know, I will leave the Lakers if things aren't going the way that I believe and if the position isn't, putting me in a spot to win a championship. So that's all I take from that. But ultimately, I think it might have been the right move. This season was not salvageable. There was nothing on the table. There was nothing out there that was going to make this team even a conference finalist. So ultimately, save your pieces and then try and figure it out in the summer.
Big Perk, what stood out to you the most from this weekend, All-Star weekend?
I have to say LeBron James and Michael Jordan when they saw one another being the interaction. Like, I done been around Bron a lot of times, and I didn't witness him, get phone calls or be around powerful or talk to popular people, and nobody never moves him. But like watching him, approach Jordan or Jordan approach him, however it went, you just seen a certain type of joy on LeBron James' face that I'd never seen before. And that just goes to show you, like, the power of Michael Jordan. Like, when he walks into a room or he walks into an area or the effect that he has on just people overall. I always say, like, before Michael Jordan came into the NBA, like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas, they were the circus, right? The greatest show on earth. And then all of a sudden, it's like Michael Jordan, like, brought that Disney World type feeling. And like every time he just walks into a room, it almost seems magic.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, let's go from what had happened to what's going to happen. Obviously, the Lakers, they're back in action. But the Grizzlies, Chicago, where DeMar DeRozan has been red hot.